That's it. Let's go. So thank you everyone, and welcome to my session, and welcome to the M365 Chicago, a Taste of Chicago event. Hopefully you're having you're at least attending to some great sessions, and you're having learning and having fun as well. So this is always really important to learn and to have fun with while we are learning. So before we begin, let's start with something really important. So this event sponsored a very important Chicago Public School Children First Fund donation. So please, if you can, just scan this QR code or go to this website, and every kind of donation counts, every penny counts. So if you are able to just go log in, or even if you don't, the donation doesn't really have to be like material in money, but you can send stuff or give a bit of your time to help the children. So this is very important, and thank you. Thank you for the M365 Chicago Taste of Chicago event to sponsor this this public school foundation. Also, before to start, let's of course thank our sponsors here. So thank you to Veeam, to AvePoint, to Concurrency, to Focal Point, to QuizCon, to Martello, to Omnia, to PointFire, to Smarter Consulting, to Synology, and of course we are broadcasting on the OSTN conference. So thank you for all the sponsors. Without them, as you can imagine, such kind of event could not be possible. So thank you for them. And if at any point of your day or your weekend, maybe if you can just go and see what are those companies do, it will be really great and really nice of you. So I just saw that maybe the QR code for the to help us improve maybe is not right, but if you can just follow the link. So this is kind of the good link to follow, to rate us, because this is how we can improve, as a speaker and as a conference in global. So with your feedback, we can improve for the next sessions that we do. Just a quick introduction about myself. So today I'm going to talk to you about the development lifecycle using Azure DevOps, but targeted the Power Platform. So when basically the idea of this session is, okay, we are we are Power Platform users, we are Power Platform developers, we are Power Platform a bit more advanced power users. So it is Power Platform power users. So and we are creating, and we are more and more acquainted with the technology, and we are more and more developing solutions, and maybe sometimes we are automating a whole business process within our company or as a consultant for other companies. But what if, what are our options regarding application lifecycle management? So how can we source control our development using the Power Platform? So my name is Alaa Bitar. I'm currently an IT application architect. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. I work for a company called Cassination in Bern, in Switzerland. At Cassination, we help surgeons perform two types of surgeries. The first type is the implantation of audio devices behind the ear. The second type of operation we help surgeons perform is the ablation of cancerous cells. And we develop robots and sensors in order to help surgeons do the best operation and the less intrusive operation that they can. I have to tell you, I am a SharePoint addict since 2007. So yes, guilty as charged. But my passion is to help business customers focus on their expertise and automate their business, so they can really focus on their expertise. You can follow me on LinkedIn. This is the main social platform that I'm active. I have also a YouTube channel called Power Appsable. I have a blog that you can usually I do some posts, and a GitHub account where I share all my application, and so it's completely open source. So please feel free, and I'm really encouraging you to go do a pull request, download my code, do whatever you feel, enhance it, play with it, discover it, and give me feedback and tell me what you think about it. So what we are going to see and what we are going to talk about during this session, the agenda will be, at first, I have a couple of slides for you to just put the background, just put the things so that we will have, all of us, the same vocabulary regarding Azure DevOps. What is Azure DevOps? Why Azure DevOps? And so on and so forth. So then, what are the tools that Azure DevOps gives us, or that Azure DevOps make available in order to do application lifecycle management? Then, and those things are super great, but what really we want to focus today is how, as us as Power Platform developer, Power Platform, Power user, what are the tools that this environment make available to us in order to do some AML around this platform. And last but not least, and this will take more than half of the session, we will see a demo. We will see like how can we create a solution in the Power Platform environment that is made of a Power App, Power Automate workflow, and a connection that sends email. How can we take this, integrate it with a GitHub, so we can do like some kind of checkout, for example, so we can have a really repository that we can work with, and we will see how can we leverage some functionality, some tools that is available for us in the Azure platform to be able to go from one environment to another. So basically what we are going to see is how can we go from a development environment to a production ready environment. Ready? Okay, let's go. So first, what is DevOps? What is development operation, basically? It is, as the code say, it is really the union between three things, between people, process, and product. And what I really want you to see and to understand is that those three entities are really linked and really tight. And more than that, it is a cycle. We start with people, they create process, this process goes or ends with a product, and this product gives feedback, and then from the people, the create process, it is really a continuous delivery. It's a continuous process. So it starts with the people, they create a process to create a product. This is really the idea and the vision that I really want you to have and to understand. And as the code said, DevOps is the union of people, process, and product to enable continuous delivery of value to your end user. Because, okay, we surely can develop a product, we surely can automate an environment, but that is not just it. At some point, when we create a product, when we create an environment, when we automate a business process, at the end, the first shot of the first draft of the first version of a product is never the last product, or the product that has seen it all, or the product that has gathered all the functionalities. We have to gather, we have to monitor, we have to learn about what we have created in order to integrate those feedback into our next product or our next bug fixes, and so on and so on. So really, I want you to really understand and to really seize it and imagine it. Even take a couple of seconds, close your eyes, and just imagine that this development is something that is continuously evolving, and it is really a continuous delivery system. Also, DevOps, Azure DevOps, but DevOps in general is really the key to digital transformation. For example, when we create a product, when we create an environment, when we automate a business process, usually we have three inside of a company. We have three different type of people. We have the developers, we have the IT operation, and we have the business. Really, the business wants something that is super performant and at the lowest cost possible. The IT operation wants the developer to be able to create and to integrate new feature, like not on the spot, but really quickly. The developers want to have an environment when they can test their environment. They can test their development in an environment, in a secure environment, in a really compartmented environment where they can develop and be sure that they are not affecting the production. So the union of development and to develop something and to be operation ready is really the key to this digital transformation. Oh, sorry. So in Azure DevOps, what are the different environment? What are the different tools or features that Azure DevOps makes available to us in order to perform this kind of development, and from the development directly create something that is operational? This is the key. The key is you develop something, and it somehow instantly, of course, it will go to a business process, it will go to certain automation, but it will be operation ready. So Azure DevOps gives us basically those 5 different features, those 5 different environments. So we have the Azure boards. Leveraging the Azure boards, we can create a plan for our development, basically. Azure Pipeline is here for us to automate the build, automate the test, automate the deployment, continuous integration, and the continuous deployment. The Azure repository is here for us to basically, it's a Git cloud hosted repository where we can push our code, check in, check out, pull request, branch request, so on and so forth. The Azure test plan, leveraging the Azure test plan, we will be able to create test sequences, result, outputs, and so on and so forth. Using the Azure artifact, we can package our solution and make it ready for continuous integration and continuous development. Before going to the next slide, I just want you to just look at those 5 different somehow topics, some feature, environment, call it whatever you want. And we can directly and very easily see that somehow those 5 different platform feature, environment, target some role within your organization as well. So Azure DevOps is not only for developers, it's not only for tester or for quality management, quality insurance, but it's really for somehow all the people that are involved in a project, in a software development project. This is what I really want you to see and to understand. So, having said all of this, Azure DevOps, basically, we will be able to plan smarter, to collaborate better, because we have an environment, we have a platform that we can easily collaborate with. We can invite people to our platform. We can share different type of permission, so people can create issue, can create plans, or other people can just read or do some build request. So the management itself is very wild and modern. We can create this kind of build and release process. We have a source management control as well, and using the Azure boards, we can do some agile or Scrum board kind of to handle a project. So you can choose whatever kind of, or the way to handle a project that you are mostly comfortable with. Okay. Using Azure Pipeline. So here we are focusing a bit more. We are narrowing our interest with the Azure pipelines. Basically, Azure pipelines are something very simple. You can imagine it. An Azure pipeline is basically a process that is lent to you somehow. That from that process that is hosted on a cloud machine somewhere, we don't really know and we don't really care where this process is. And from that process, we can do whatever we want. We can leverage, first of all, any language or any development language that we like or that we are comfortable with. We can do some C++, some .NET code, Python, Node.js, whatever, you name it. I don't know, maybe the number of language are endless, and we can leverage Linux machine, Linux process, so it's a Linux job, a Windows or a Mac OS process. So using first of all, Azure Pipeline, it's a process hosted on a cloud machine. This cloud machine, we can choose if it is a Windows, Mac OS, or a Linux. And from that point, we can do whatever kind of language, whatever kind of scripting that we like, that we are comfortable with, that we know, and do what we want to do. This is the first main idea of an Azure pipeline. It is also extensible, so we can we can extend the capabilities of an Azure pipeline. We can, of course, leverage any container and Kubernetes process. And it is completely open source, so there are many examples out there. You can just grab an Azure pipeline and test it in your environment, or take a portion of an Azure pipeline and test it in your environment. Now, if we narrow a bit more, so we are narrowing a level deeper to our process, to our need, what we want to achieve here today. Application life cycle management. Why it is really important? First of all, we will automate a process. So when we automate a process, because we automate the process, we get rid of mistakes, of human errors at some point, because the process is completely automated and the different steps just go one after the other. So we have automated the process, we have some less error while we are automating this process, but also some less error when we are deploying as well the process. All the code is centralized in one single place, or different places, or different environment, but all our code is centralized. We can perform some tests, we can automate some tests, and before all our tests are validated, we cannot go we cannot deploy our solution, for example, to a production environment. We can see directly, for example, if there is some error at some point, we can trigger alerts, we can send emails, and so on and so on. So all of this result at the end to better quality in production. And this is really why application IML is really important. IML now powered by Azure DevOps. We are going one step. Again, we are narrowing what we are wanting to achieve here. So using Azure DevOps, we can initiate our AML process, we can build our AML process, and then we can release as well our AML. One step further, one step deeper in what we want to achieve. What are the tools that is available for us in Azure DevOps to be able to handle the application lifecycle management in the Power Platform with something that is called Power Apps build. Basically, the idea is that in the Power Platform, we can create solution. Solution is basically a kind of container that can hold Power Apps application, Power Automate workflow, environment variable, connection reference, for example, to send an email, connection reference to a SharePoint site, and so on. So you name it. So in the Power Platform, we can create a solution container that can hold those different kind of components. And those components at some point can reflect our software or our business process automation, basically. Leveraging the Power Apps build tool that is available to us in the Azure DevOps environment, we can first automate the deployment. We can automate the task development. Using service connection, we can target different environment in our Power Platform environment. So for example, if you have a production environment, if you have a development environment, if you have a quality assurance, for example, environment, using just the service connection functionality in the Azure DevOps, we can super easily, and we will see, target different kind of environments. We can import, export, and publish our solution, and we can pack and unpack also our solution. And what we will see in the demo is we're gonna, from the solution that we have in a development environment, we will pack it, we will create a zip, and we will take that zip, we will extract that zip in a repository, an Azure hosted repository. So we will have this kind of software. It's like when you're just using Visual Studio and you're creating a software with 5 different developers, you know, and all the development is pushed and hosted in a repository, and you know, every developer can work on a specific file and just do some very thin and targeted change and just push this change into the repository. So we are not to that preciseness, if I can say, in the development, but at least every developer can do some changes in the work environment, in the development environment, and then push these changes into a repository. And at some point, and at any point, because it is a repository, it's a Git repository, we can roll back, we can create a new branch, and so on and so forth. Also, before we kind of publish our solution to this repository, we can do, for example, a solution. We can trigger the solution checker in our environment, because And as you know, and this is a really nice feature in the Power Platform and the Power Platform solution. So you have a solution that is made of different components. Before you can trigger something that is called solution checker that will check the integrity of your solution. That will check if, for example, your Power App is does not contain error, for example, or your Power Automate workflow does not contain error, for example, and so on. And if this returns true, or if this says okay, then we will push our code to a repository, or we will push our code to development to a production environment, for example. And if there is no question super urgent, I will go to the demo. So I think let's go to the demo so that we will see everything that we have just talked about in action somehow. So here I'm logged in with my destination account to my DevOps Azure platform. So from here, I created a simple solution called test proof of concept. Okay, so here I have my Azure DevOps environment called test. In parallel, if I go to my Power Apps environment or to my Power Platform environment, in the solution section, I see that I have this proof of concept application solution. So if we click on it, we can see that. Okay, cool. It's made of what? It is made basically of two Canvas application. It is made of Power Automate flow, and it is made of an external connection reference that is used in my Power Automate workflow. Okay, so here I'm in my development environment, and to not cheat, I will go to my production environment, I will go to my solution, and I will just delete my proof of concept application, and we will see how can we take this solution from the development environment, do some testing, do some checking, and validate everything, and make sure that everything is before we publish it to our production-ready environment. Okay, so while it has been deleted. Okay, so we go back to the Azure DevOps environment. Okay, so basically we could have, I didn't create them, but we could have created some work items and do some kind of sprints in the Azure boards. But let's focus on today's session and see the first kind of pipeline that we are creating. So I created a pipeline called Test POC Continuous Integration. Basically, the idea of this pipeline is for me to check the integrity of my solution, check if everything is okay with my solution, and if it's okay, I want to export it to a zip file, to extract this zip file, and do a push in my repository that is here. Okay, so here I have a test POC proof of concept repository, an Azure Git repository called test POC, and what I want to do is to go back to my development environment. Test POC. Okay, what I want to do is to take everything that is here, create a zip, unzip this, and push it to a repository, so I can have set of files that represent my solution. Okay. Okay. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm leveraging a simple Windows 2016 agent job. So my process will be hosted in a Windows environment, and I just plugged sequentially a couple of steps, and those are the Power Platform tools that we were talking about. So first thing that you have to do is, because as we were mentioning at the beginning of this session, is basically an Azure pipeline is a process in a cloud hosted machine. So basically it's a command prompt. It's like I give you access to this, to my command prompt. So in order to leverage the set of functionalities that is available by the Power Platform tools, we have to install those Power Platform tools. And yeah, this step we have to do it every time, because every time we trigger or every time we launch the Azure pipeline, it is completely resetting. It doesn't know in which environment it was just before. So every time we trigger the Azure pipeline, the first step that we have to do is to install the Power Platform tool. So how can we do it? Is with this step, with this kind of brick that is called Power Platform Tool Installer. So this will install the Power Platform tool for us in our process hosted, in our process. What we want to do then after is, if we at some point have done some changes in either any component in the solution, we want to publish the customization. So we are sure that when we will do the platform check, we will take somehow the latest version of our development. So once we, so we install, we publish the customization. And to publish the customization, basically, the only thing that we have to provide is the service connection. So the service connection, as we were stating at the beginning of this session, a service connection is somehow logging that points to a certain environment, that points to a specific solution in our environment. So just to show you, and this is a bit out of the scope in our today's session, but basically when you create a project in Azure DevOps, you have this service connection. So you can create a service connection for any environment that you want to target. So basically today we're going to see the development environment, that basically it's a connection that targets, I go to edit, that targets our development environment here. So it's basically the URL of our development environment. And we have prod environment, that basically it's a login, somehow it's an application login that targets our development environment. I won't go through how we create the service connection, but basically you can just type on the internet and you will get many results. But basically you create an enterprise application in your Azure Active Directory, and you provide the application, and you will have to create a user that has at least some kind of role in your environment as an application user from this application ID that you have created. And but it's very easy process and very straightforward. It's nothing really complicated. Yeah. Let's go back to our pipeline. So first step, we install the tool, we publish the customization, then we trigger a platform check to see if everything is okay. Then we do an export for our solution. So here we just provide our development environment service connection. We provide the solution name. So here it is POC app, and we just provide like what we want to name our zip file that we have created, our output file. So it's POC app zip. Then we use the unpack solution. The unpack solution basically takes the name of the zip file that you have just created, and it will unpack it, it will unzip it, and then last but not least, I am doing a command line script in order to push the changes or push this zip into the repository. So in order to trigger an Azure pipeline, super simple. You just have to click this Q button. So here, okay, I would say I'm targeting the main branch, because at some point, if you have created another branch in your repository, you want to publish your code into that branch. So from here, you can choose in which branch you want to push your code, and we're just gonna click run, and the pipeline has been queued, the agent job has been triggered, and it will get executed. We can click on it to see the different the status of the application. We see that our agent job has a couple of steps in order to perform. First of all, it checks out the repository. So here we are installing the tool. We are using the Power Platform tool installer. So while the agent run, we will get back to it, and hopefully, if there is no demo effect, everything will run smooth. I just want to show you how you can add those components, and they are very easy and very simple to add. Once you created your pipeline, you can just click on the add on this plus button. You can search here for Power Platform, let's say. Okay, and here you will have all the different functionalities that are available for you when you're automating your or when you're creating your pipeline. So you can copy environment, you can create an environment. For example, I didn't test it all, but please feel free to do and to automate and to leverage any kind of one of those or many of those Power Platform component or tasks that are available. Really life and time saver. If we go back to the pipeline to see where it is. Okay, it's a job. Okay, we see that the tool has been installed, the customization has been published, and the solution somehow has been checked. Now the pipeline is exporting our solution, so it's creating a zip out of our solution, and it will put that zip in the process, and hopefully everything goes well. This zip will be taken charge by the unpack solution, and at the end the command line script will push the changes in our repository. It's taking a bit more than expected, so I wanted to show you also. So okay, here we took our development, and we put it, we check it, we said that okay, everything is okay, everything is well, and we push it to our repository, basically, at the end of this process. Now we're gonna see what one other kind of pipelines that we can leverage using the Azure platform is something called release pipeline. Basically, a release pipeline is when we want to release our product. So when we release our product, our solution, basically it is the time when we want to go from one environment to another environment. So today we're going to see how can we take a solution that is in our development environment and we want to push it to our production ready environment. So we can do this, and I don't know why it's taking long. It's okay, no worries. Okay. Okay, sometimes. Let's check our release pipeline. Okay, so our release pipeline, basically it's the same kind of pipeline. It's the same thing, same process, same way we create a pipeline, but this is targeted to release our product. So I created a release pipeline that, if we click on it, basically when we trigger it, it will first create an approval request to, and it will send this approval request. It will send it to me, but you can change it and you can make it more dynamic. And once this request is approved, then the actual pipeline will get triggered. So this is the main. There are all differences. There are other differences, but this is the main difference that it is between a regular pipeline and a release pipeline. Using a release pipeline, you can have this kind of approval process before triggering actually the pipeline. And if we see what this pipeline does, check, edit. Okay, so basically this pipeline has a pre-deployment condition that is the approval process that I have just told you. And as I was saying, so every time we trigger a pipeline in Azure DevOps, we have to, because we are in a process that is hosted on a cloud machine, we have to install the tools, the Power Platform tools, and then super easy, one step called Power Platform import solution. And the import solution basically takes a zip and push it to an environment. How it push, how you choose into which environment you want to push your code is using this service connection. So this is why I created another connection called production environment connection that targets our production environment here. And basically this service connection will take the zip file and it will push the, to extract it, and it will push this solution into our production ready environment. So let me trigger it and hopefully it will work. We will just have a look at the initial pipeline. So, okay, I've created a new release pipeline. So it's at a certain kind of stage. I received an email, but I can go directly here and click on approve. I can, usually it's same kind of approval process that you see in all M365 environment. You can reassign, or you can also defer the deployment to a certain period of time. I don't want to reassign it. It is good to go. Before I approve, I can see the logs and so on, and even in the pipeline, I could have triggered some automated tests as well. Don't have enough time to see it in today's session. Hopefully, in another session, we will have the time to go a bit deeper. But just know that leveraging an Azure pipeline, you can also trigger the what is called the automate the UI automation that we have in the Power App, for example. So basically, you can trick, because the Power App UI automation, or the UI automation, but the Power Apps test automation, it's basically when you create an automation, a testing. You can basically have at the end a URL, and using this URL, you can play your automation. So using the release pipeline, it's a bit kind of more advanced kind of pipeline, but you can also trigger this URL and get the result of that URL. And if it's all good, then do continue with the process. So here, okay, it's good to go. I click on approve, and now my pipeline is really triggered, and we will see hopefully that it has been triggered. Let's go back to our initial pipeline. It's still running. Okay, I don't know why. Let me double check something. Check. So it's this guy. It's this guy. Okay, I'm not here. I'm not going to debug the pipeline, but believe me, it works. It's somehow the demo effect. Yeah, I'm somehow done. Thank you for attending the session. And if you have any question, I will just be super happy to answer them. And last but not least, again, sorry for that, but because this is really important. If you can scan the QR code, go to the website, check what the guys are doing, and if at some point you can contribute, it's really great. Yeah, and of course, if you can help us improve as well, it's we will be more than welcome to gather all your feedback. And that's it for me. Don't know if there is any question. Stop sharing my screen. Don't know if there is any question for me. If not, I will. Yeah, pipeline really. The development pipeline are really something super interesting, super powerful as well. I really encourage you to just go and play with them, try to see what you can do with them, and yeah, it's you know, it's like a new toy for us as Power Platform user or Power Platform developer that we can leverage. And it is a skill that you really need to know it. And yeah, of course, you have, as David here is mentioning, the different components. Let me just reshare my screen. The different components, the different agent job that we see here. Basically, you can just go wild and just edit the YAML code file directly, you know. So I don't have it. Let me show you. Not sure I still have it. No, it's not this one. No, maybe it's this one. No. Check. Maybe it's this one. Okay. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. You see, basically here, I've created somehow the same thing as we saw earlier, but directly editing the YAML file. So you can do it. Either way. All right, so I will leave you to a break then, and stay tuned because there's really some very super nice session. So there is no session in that room, but I really suggest you to go to the other room. There are really nice sessions still throughout the day, and thank you very much. Thank you for attending my session, and hopefully. Next time we will see each other in the real world, and I wishes you a great week and stay safe.